Hi guys, I'm Catch Queen and I'm finally back with yet another video for you. And today I'm going to talk about the dangers and the dark side of cross-dressing. Boo! Yeah, that's right. As much as I enjoy this form of art, which I consider it to be, I have to admit that there are some dark sides to it. And the more I read about it, the more I learn about it, the more I realize that cross-dressing may not always be such an innocent pastime all the time and under every circumstance. So I've been indulging in cross-dressing all my life, and I can tell you that I have not yet been I haven't yet seen much of its dark side or its negative detrimental influences. But many people apparently do see such effects, and psychologists are well aware that psychologically negative things can be triggered by cross-dressing. Now, if you, most of these problems emerge if you try to feminize yourself through clothing by cross-dressing, in order to fulfill a sort of a transgender goal that you have at the end of the cross-dressing tunnel. And yeah, since I don't actually intend to go full trans, or I don't have such intentions, I never really had, although I have considered taking hormones quite a few times already. And I might even be open to doing that right now. But going full trans, going under the knife is something that I've never considered, and I do not believe that I would ever be ready for that. Well, anyway, what are the dark sides of cross-dressing? The urge to purge. Now, let's talk about the urge to purge. Now, I have not experienced this urge in its conventional form, the way I have heard psychologists describe it, but I have actually experienced a sort of a side form of it myself. Well, what is the urge to purge? If you are an adult cross-dresser and you decide to feminize yourself, you buy yourself a bunch of nice clothes online or offline or wherever, and you have them delivered to your house, you pick them up, you're all excited, and you go through, you rummage through your new haul, and you realize that everything looks even more glamorous in real life. You decide to put everything on and you do your makeup. Now that is your first attempt as an adult to cross-dress. You are facing three possible outcomes. Now the first one is that you get it right smack dab in the middle with your first try. Now the likelihood of that happening isn't all that great, and yeah, it seldom happens. And because let's face it, as a man, your makeup skills and cross-dressing skills are pretty much nil at that point at your first try, at the time of your first try, and yeah, you give it a shot, you do a makeup look, and you put on your hyper-feminine clothing, because that's usually what first-time cross-dressers get and do. I know it from personal experience, and to this day I really, really love hyper-feminine, glamorous get-ups, pretty much like this one right here that I'm sporting now. And yeah, you do it all, and then you look into the mirror. And that's when the dark side of cross-dressing strikes. You don't like what you see. That's what happens. You do not like what you see. And that is the second possible outcome, and the worst. You may also be like, I don't really like what I see, but I think I need to practice a little bit more here and there with my makeup, and wear these kind of clothes instead of those next time around, and improve. And if that is your attitude, that is great. But some people, and many people, it happens to many, when they see themselves in the mirror, they go like, oh my God, I'm hideous. I can't believe it. I'm just a guy in a dress, and this garish makeup looks awful on me. And I shall never be able to pass. And this isn't what I thought I would look like, cross-dressed and feminized. And when that happens, you internalize that picture and it sort of sears itself into your memory. And you keep seeing it again and again, even after you go back to your male persona, and you keep remembering it. And that is a huge trigger to purge and to forget everything about cross-dressing. You just want to give it up. You won't ever succeed at this thing, and you do not like the results that you got, and you do not believe that this is the right path for you. You get doubt. And whenever you think about cross-dressing for the next couple of months, or 6 months, or even a year, you see this picture of this unfamiliar creature that absolutely rubs you the wrong way, and that you do not want to reawaken. And that is your primary, that what gives you the impetus to purge your stuff and to give it all up. Now, you may just throw everything out and consider it done. But if you're a true crossdresser, and if you are indeed, you've got gender dysphoria, and you are transgender, possibly, then you will return to it nonetheless. And the next time it happens, it all just happens on repeat. Now you buy up the clothes and the makeup and everything again. You go through the process again, having not practiced at all for the previous 6 months or a year. You do your best again, and once again, you end up with a result that you do not like. And you purge again. So that's sort of a vicious, self-perpetuating circle. By virtue of the fact that you never practice, and you don't do it, and you don't redo it, and you do not insist at it, you never get better at it, and you never like the results that you get. Why is it, though, that the urge to purge and to forget about cross-dressing is so huge at that point? Well, that is not actually your brain. According to psychologists, that is your internalized transphobia speaking to you, telling you that you're hideous and that you do not stand a chance to ever pass as a woman or ever look good as a crossdresser. Now, where does this internalized transphobia come from, especially in a crossdresser? Well, we all have it. We all have it because society inoculates us with that sort of transphobia from a very early age, and popular culture does its huge part at it. Now, just think of the movies in which you've seen cross-dressers or trans people featured, especially like a decade or so back. In every single one of those movies, cross-dressers and trans people were presented as hideous people, or at the very best, they were presented for comedic effect. Now, you are not laughingstock. That is not what you want to turn yourself into, right? So that prompts you to just drop the whole thing, forget about it. Well, I personally have never gone through this process because I've been cross-dressing since I was in kindergarten. Now, for me, it was all a gradual process with tiny little steps, and I never actually got to the point where I hated myself for cross-dressing. I kind of sort of had my doubts. So there were points in my life when I had serious doubts about cross-dressing, but even then I was always fully aware that I would come back to it, and that purging was not a walkable path for me. So it was not an option. I had to keep my stuff because I knew that these negative bad feelings would go away, and then I would return to my wardrobe and my makeup kit. Inevitably. Alright, so this part of my life, as you probably know, as I've told you in one of my past videos, this one right over here, as a kid, I was bullied for being feminine. I was always feminine, even when I didn't cross-dress, and cross-dressing all came natural to me. Even to this day, I like to go to the gym, I like to work out, but as you can see, the muscles that I'm able to build are sort of feminine-ish, even now, and that's just me. That's always been me. And as a teenager, that bothered me horribly. Now, I've always loved girls, and as a teenager, I was crazy about them. I would have done anything to, you know, be like one of them really popular fellas at school who always had several girlfriends. And yeah, being feminine and cross-dressing wasn't exactly taking me in that direction. So that's when I had my doubts. Okay, I sort of figured that, yeah, maybe I should drop this thing and maybe I should focus on becoming as manly as possible. That's where my fitness journey started way back then. And yeah, but because it was taking me in a healthy direction, I have no regrets in that regard either. And even back then, I subconsciously knew that cross-dressing was a part of me. It was who I was. So it took me a while to accept that fact. And yeah, it wasn't until like when I started this channel, that was quite a few years ago, that I started to truly accept myself as a cross-dresser. And I sort of had a few tastes of this urge to purge myself before that. I consider myself lucky, however, that I never actually did it. And although I did lose my wardrobe like once, when I stashed the majority of my nylons, I believe, and a couple of my dresses inside the lining of a winter coat. And my mom gave that away to charity with all my stuff in it, and I was like horrible. I remember I was crushed. I was like, no, I lost it all. Now I'm gonna have to rebuild my stash, but I did. And I bounced back successfully from that tiny little setback, and that wasn't actually a purge, a voluntary purge. So I can tell you for sure that I've never purged myself, but that I fully understand those of you who do. It's a complicated process and it's really taxing psychologically. And yeah, if you understand how and why it all happens, perhaps you can do something to avoid it and develop ways to handle these feelings and these situations. All right, guys, so hopefully that wasn't too boring. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope that you get as much joy out of your cross-dressing as I do out of mine. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just you know, click that button down there, subscribe to my channel. I always appreciate that. That's the best way to support me. Subscribe to my channel, perhaps share my videos if you like them, and don't if you don't. And follow me on other social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Flickr, I'm on Twitter. You can find me pretty much anywhere. That was it for today. Hope you liked it, and I'll be back soon. See you around.